I don't know what happened, but Twitch has updated their program and now it's not working right. So you're going to see in a minute that I don't know what they did, but there was a big update right before I started it. And now, for some reason, it interprets the iPad's screen as half green. It's doing like a landscape. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. You're going to see in a minute. So I'm just going to post my links, but it's really stupid because I don't know what they did. I thought maybe with the update, because it was a pretty big update, it took a few minutes, so I thought, oh, good, maybe they're going to finally fix the CPU utilization issue. No, they've just introduced something new. So that's wonderful. Sorry, I needed a drink of water because I'm aggravated now. I intended to do a slightly longer stream, but I've spent 10 minutes now doing this nonsense because I can't work out why this is happening. There's nothing different about anything I'm using. The only difference is, in fact, I checked and I made sure that the mirroring software has not updated either. So it's definitely not the software I'm using, which is a very simple program. I mean, don't get me wrong, it does have its issues, but apparently now they did something which is just aggravating, because honestly, I really don't feel like I'm having to learn OBS or anything like that at this point, but I don't know, we'll see. But I'm just kind of annoyed because this thing worked well enough, and of course, as often happens, once there was an update involved, guess what? Wah, wah, went down the tubes. So anyway, we'll try this. We'll see how it goes. I'm making no guarantees that it's going to rescheduled. Oh, jeez, what is this nonsense? Rescheduled. Okay, whatever. I don't really care. UPS notification, sorry. Just doing that in the background, so I'll get started here in a minute. I'm just going to make sure I copy my little link here. I am really annoyed about this. It's really... I mean, the only possibility is it might go away after I reboot the machine. Maybe it wanted me to reboot the computer. It didn't indicate that, but that's a possibility. I will hold out that very small hope that maybe this is just because the computer wanted me to restart and I didn't. Again, it didn't tell me to, but whatever. All right, let's go ahead and start this thing up and we'll see. You'll see. It just doesn't make any sense. Luckily, it's not a big deal. I can mitigate it to an extent and it doesn't really affect anything, except you're going to see a big green blob. You'll see what I mean in a second. It's just ridiculous is the only word I can come up with for it. So you're going to see it now. Here we go. Ready? See that green block on the right? That shouldn't be there. There's no reason for that to be there. There is no green on my iPad, and it doesn't matter. I checked to make sure. It's not an orientation thing, because if I turn it sideways, well, okay, now, well, I don't think it actually fills the screen. I think all it's doing is it's blobbing over the green. Oh boy, look at that. Huh. Yeah, see it, there's, I don't know, whatever. That just started as of the update that Twitch just did. So I don't know what that is. And now I kind of feel bad that you're going to have that giant green thing there the whole time. So sorry about that. I don't know if I can fix that at all. No, I really can't. Sorry. Well, wait, maybe, hold on. Yes, I can probably, there probably is a way to fix that. Let me see. Let me see what this does. Okay, hold on. Okay, that's better. I'll leave it like that. I don't have an explanation, everybody. I don't know. I have no idea. Again, the only thing that happened, the only thing that updated was the Twitch Studio beta software. So the only thing I can infer from that is that something in their software updated and caused this problem. So, oops, did I just do that? I did. Whatever, it doesn't matter. It's fine. We'll persevere through it. It's not a big deal. So here we go. Now the only possibility that might interrupt the stream is, and this is baseball news, right now the Yankees are playing, I believe. I'm going to check to see what the start time is. So if Aaron Judge does hit his 61st home run, I would imagine I'll get a phone call very excitedly from my wife telling me that there is, I'm just looking, yeah, I don't see, yeah, there's nothing, Okay. So he's already had one at bat and has not hit it. So for those who aren't aware, Aaron Judge is an American baseball player, for those who may not keep track of American baseball. And he is a member of the New York Yankees, which of course is my favorite team because it's the team I grew up with, my hometown team. And he is currently tied with Babe Ruth, who most people will know that name from baseball, historical figure. He is currently tied with Babe Ruth at 60 home runs in a season, and he is one shy of tying Roger Maris's record of 61. And in theory, of course, if he were to hit another one, he would go to 62. And that he's been at 60 now for a little while, to the point where people are starting to wonder if maybe he's just not going to be able to do it. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, teams are kind of pitching around him. It's not as easy as everybody thinks. So the fact that he's even at 60, to me, if he doesn't hit 61, he's still having a sensational season as an excellent ball player. And regardless of whether he breaks this record or not, it's still pretty great that we've gotten as many years with him on the Yankees as we have. I don't know if he's going to go somewhere else. I somewhat suspect that he will, because the Yankees, for whatever reason, and I have no explanation for this, I couldn't tell you why they do these things, but rather than seal up a good deal with him and just pay the man what he's due, because he's clearly due it, he's by far the best player on the team, and yet the Yankees, for whatever reason in recent years, I'm sorry this is devolving into baseball talk, but it is a frustration point, and it's one that I feel like I can talk about without risking some of the ire or the kind of... It's safer to talk about than politics. Let's put it like that. That's what I'm going for. So for whatever reason, the Yankees just make really dumb decisions, or have made really dumb decisions in the last, I'm gonna say 5-10 years, but particularly in the last 5 years, there's been some really just baffling decisions that this team has made in the stewardship of Brian Cashman and Hal Steinbrenner, who I think are, I don't know who's actually running that relationship. My gut feeling tells me that perhaps it is a continuation of what George Steinbrenner did, which, if you want to see a very good idea of how he operated, watch the wonderful series from ESPN called The Bronx is Burning, which is about Reggie Jackson and the Yankees, and a particularly troubled time in New York City's history, but one that I think, is worth revisiting and worth seeing. I did turn my keyboard off, right, because I don't want to inadvertently, okay. I didn't want to make sure I didn't want to hit something and add to the bizarrety of whatever is going on here with this. Hopefully it is simply a reboot to fix this. I don't know. I'll be really annoyed if not. So anyway, yes, that might disrupt the stream. I'll just warn you now. Streaming a little bit earlier than usual because I have some stuff to do in a little bit. So I figured I was going to do, I said, okay, do about a 40-minute stream or so, at least do something. I'll probably stream again tomorrow, but I figured, I have time, I'll do it now. And then, of course, I ran into this stupid issue, which, again, I have to by all, it is, what's the word for it? Oh, man, what is the word for it? What is the word for it? It's in the, if you watch cop shows, there's the kind of evidence that's flimsy. What is it? Oh my, I can't think of the word. It starts with a C. What is the word I'm not thinking of? It's, I've heard this word my entire life. It has been a bedrock of legal procedurals and cop shows. Not coincidental, but it's like that. What? I cannot believe I can't come up with this word. But I don't have any reason. It's not conclusive evidence that the Twitch Studio software has caused this problem, but it does certainly indicate it. It is now going to bug me this entire stream that I cannot come up with the word for what this kind of evidence is. Oh man, I can't believe it. I can't believe I can't come up with this word. This entire stream is going to be my disbelief at the fact that I can't come up with. I can see people saying it, but now I'm thinking about it too much. So anyway, it doesn't matter. Okay, here we go. So I don't know that the stream software did this, but since there were no updates to my iPad, there were no updates to the MacBook Pro it is running on, there were no updates to the Reflector software that I am using. The only thing that did have an update, because this is one of the things in IT, and anybody who does any type of troubleshooting, this is a phrase they will be very familiar with, and if you've had to do troubleshooting, you'll be familiar with it too. What has changed, if anything? What, if anything, has changed? Has anything been updated or uninstalled or installed or changed in any way? And the only change I'd have to say, were someone to ask me that question, would be, well, the Twitch Studio software updated right before this happened. And that's what they'd point at and say, well, that's probably what your issue is then. And I would have to agree. Are those actual marks? Huh, interesting. So, anyway. Like I said, it's not something where I saw an error or any kind of indication of anything. It just is you didn't have that thing on the right there until Twitch decided to update its software. So, whatever that word is that I can't remember, that's all I'm going by as far as evidence. But it sure seems like the one thing that had an update would have caused this weird problem, is all I'm saying. Not coincidental. Coincidental is not the word I'm thinking of, because I keep coming up, well, it's coincidental. It's not coincidental evidence. There's a word for it. Something evidence. I can't believe I... All right, I have to look it up. I'm sorry. I have to look it up, or I'm just going to repeat this 1,000 times. Let's see. Well, let me look this up. Types of evidence in legal proceedings. I know it's with a C. This is so stupid. Okay, here it is. Circumstantial. That's it. Circumstantial evidence. Man. At least I got that out of my head, because that would have been the whole rest of the stream. Is me sitting here trying to figure out the word circumstantial, which don't nobody want to be hearing about. So, circumstantial. Got it. All I have is circumstantial evidence that it is the Twitch streaming software. But it sure seems like that would have to be what it is. Only because it's the only thing that was updated. Which I really conclusive. Yeah, I don't have conclusive. No, I don't have conclusive. I'm jumping to a conclusion based on circumstantial findings. So your word is applicable to what I'm doing, but it is not something that, in fact, I can prove. It just so happens that right after this software updates, now you got the right side of the screen that's got this big grid there that shouldn't be there. That's all I'm saying, and now I'm going to shut up about it. But that's sure what I think it is. It doesn't really matter. Like I said, the important part is, at first, I didn't think it was going to work at all. I thought it was going to, because it looked like when I first started it up, it looked like it had minimized the whole iPad to basically, it looked like it was about that size. And that's because it was taking up the whole screen. So what I've done is I've just shifted it over, because for whatever reason, the left border is preserved, the right border isn't. So I don't know. I don't know what that is. I don't actually know what's causing it. I just have my theory. So at least it's workable. It's not ideal. But honestly, you know what? That stuff over there was it's just images anyway. It's not like there's any really important information or anything anybody would actually need. It's just what's there. So that's okay. I can certainly live with that. And I will be irritated by it because I know it shouldn't be that way. But it doesn't actually impact the stream whatsoever. So... Not in a way that affects how people are seeing it. I mean, if there was some kind of weird strobe effect or something, then I go, ooh, no, we can't have that. But this is okay. It's stupid, but it's tolerable. Like many things in life. Stupid, but tolerable. So, yeah. Anyway, that's what's going on here on a... Yes, that's my phone in the background. Sorry if you heard that. That's what's going on here on Tuesday, is waiting for Aaron Judge to hit number 61 and trying to not be too annoyed by the fact that now the streaming software is acting fluky. Just use the word fluky. It's a good word. If it resolves after a reboot, that's perfectly fine. I really hope that is it. It's possible. It did look like a pretty sizable update. I mean, it wasn't... the Twitch Studio thing is updated before, and it's usually been pretty fast. I mean, to the point where you might not even have thought it really updated. It might have looked like a loading bar. But this was deliberate, and it did say updating from network. So clearly there was something done. But there's no release notes. There's no nothing. So I really don't know. Okay. So we're going along with the rings here. But yeah, I do apologize because that probably means this is going to be a pretty short stream. I mean, I'll do a longer one tomorrow, or at least I'm planning to, so it's okay. And I will say, for those inclined, over on the show YouTube channel, not the one for the art stream, but the main show stream, which you can find if you go to the show homepage and you look for the YouTube link, I posted gameplay from the Scorn Prologue release. Now, warning, that is most definitely for mature audiences. That's why I'm not posting on this stream. Not that I myself said anything particularly bad. The great irony is that in the course of that stream, I think I did not swear one time, and yet because of the content of the game, it certainly is not one that I could possibly say, oh, younger viewers are okay watching that because I didn't swear. No, 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 no. It is definitely a capital H horror game, and it does not operate with subtlety, which I happen to like. But I'm just saying, it ain't for everybody. That's all. So I think that game is going to be quite the wild time when it comes out, because it essentially, I mean, depending on what the gameplay actually is, though, it is really like, it is like navigating a Giger painting, and that is just remarkable. And I've been very lucky. I've said this before with Kickstarter stuff, and I think that was a Kickstarter campaign. The video games that I've backed on Kickstarter have actually turned out really well, and they've all shipped. I've been very fortunate in that way. A lot of people have backed games that never got made. I have not had that experience. I'm not attributing that to some kind of amazing Warren Buffett-like spider sense or something like that. I just guess I got lucky, or my tastes are so specifically niche that I happen to pick game. Yeah, game. No, I agree. I mean, if I had Game Pass, I'll stream it once the game is actually out in full. I will also stream that, so I will provide that. But honestly, just based on the hour and change that I've played, I mean, even if the game isn't particularly successful as a game, I still want to play it. You know, I still want to experience that world because I think visually it is so impressive. So I really don't care, because there are going to be people who aren't going to like it. I can tell already. I've already seen some reviews where people are like, well, I don't really know what it is. Is it a horror game, or is it survival, or is it a shooter, or is it a walking simulator? And the answer is yes. I'm going to get a drink for a second here. The answer is it's all those things. And for some people, and this is not a criticism. This is not me saying there's anything wrong with this, because I myself am like this in some ways. Some people do not tolerate very well certain genres mixed together. And to describe this game, I could see some people being put off by it. Enjoy your dinner. Because it isn't a easily categorized game, and it is a very, very specific type of atmosphere. So if you don't like H.R. Giger, or you're not into horror or gross stuff, well, it's not going to be your game. I'll just warn you about that right now. So you do have to have those interests. I think if you just generally like, and it's not a horror game, at least in the, I'm going to say about hour and 20 minutes or hour and a half that I played, it's very, from what I understand, I've read a little bit, I mean, because I get the developer updates from the developer, which is, I don't know if it's supposed to be pronounced EB or EBB, whatever. But the developer seems to have indicated that this is not meant to be a Doom-style shooter. That while there are combat elements, you will have weaponry to defend yourself against enemies. It is much like, well, I don't want to say it's like Amnesia: The Dark Descent, because in that game you explicitly did not want to ever look at enemies. I don't think it's that, but I think it is more of combat avoidance is the better approach as opposed to trying to shoot your way through it. I don't know that you'll even be able to. When I played the beta, I mean, even with a gun, which was powered by these little metal spheres, I guess, or little, almost like oversized BBs. or like pearls on a necklace type of thing, like these big golden globes, but not big, but about probably about, oh, I don't know, half an inch in diameter, maybe quarter an inch, something like that. So small, like ball bearing type of things. Also, what you'd fire out of a slingshot. Well, depending on what you'd fire out of a slingshot. Some people fire large things out of it. But in any event, I had this weapon, this organic weapon, this bio weapon that fired these projectiles. And number one, I didn't have much ammo, and I think that was on purpose. I think there was an ammo scarcity component there to keep you from just wanting to fire at everything. But even when I had enough I remember there was some kind of crawling creature I was shooting at. And even that took so many rounds to put it down that, at one point I think they threw 3 enemies at me and that was it. I mean, I was toast at that point. So it was very evident that this was not meant to be a run and gun type of game. That in fact, this is supposed to be yes, you can defend yourself if necessary. We don't want to leave you as helpless, but almost not Resident Evil, Silent Hill style. Silent Hill was a lot like that, where, I mean, Resident Evil was too, but Resident Evil would also allow you to just take a machine gun, not a machine gun, but like a shotgun and just mow down the enemies in front of you. Whereas Silent Hill was definitely, I think, more of along the lines of what this is, where combat, if it happens in any big way, is going to be probably very scripted and very specific. And so that's where, I think this game is trying to be more Silent Hill than it is Doom, I guess would be the word for it. Or even Resident Evil, again, because Resident Evil does have a lot of, what's the word for it? Inventory management. And, there were games where you did not have a lot of ammo, so it was, you were better off running as opposed to standing your ground against the creatures because they could pretty easily kill you. And that's what it feels like Scorn's trying to be. Scorn is trying to, and I think Scorn even more is going for the atmospherics like Silent Hill did. And I think I like it. I like it a lot. So, but again, I can't recommend it for general audiences. Because it's a very graphic and very, very committed to what it's doing game. Which I applaud because, especially in the current video game landscape, the easy thing is simply to copy something else and just go with a formula. To have that kind of identity is tough. Especially because it is a game that is not going to be easily... You can't just package it and say, well, it's Super Mario meets Silent Hill. Well, number one, what would that look like? But also, no, it's not. So that's again, you can't really call it a walking simulator because there's puzzle elements. I don't know that you could call it a gory puzzler, I guess. That is not inaccurate. But I don't know that even that would necessarily convey the right idea of the game to people. So we'll see. I've enjoyed what little I've played with it. I intend to play it when it comes out. Like I said, I'll stream it so people will be able to see it. But I will not be surprised if it does have a bit of a... I don't want to say a rocky launch, but it may have more work ahead of it than other games to establish a foothold. I'll say it like that. But I really do hope that the art style and the feel of the game are what draw people in, because I do think that is the game's strengths, is that it does not feel like much else that I've played lately. It feels very different from a lot of other things. And that's good, because a lot of stuff I've played lately... Yeah, I mean, I've been trying stuff because I'm on the PlayStation Plus thing, and you can download games from there. And what was the first game I played a little bit of? Oh, I can't remember now. I pulled down a game, a newer game, and I played it for a little while, and I just went, no. And then I pulled down the Tony Hawk Pro Skater game, which I remember loving when I was younger, and it was fun for a night or two, and then I kind of went, And Horizon Forbidden West, which I really was into at first, I got burned out on. Then, of course, I played Miles Morales, which I liked a lot, because I think the length was very, very good in terms of not overstaying its welcome. And now I pulled down Batman Arkham Knight, And I don't know, I'm struggling with that one too. Although that one is, some of that is just the way that game operates. It's, I don't know. There's something I'm missing about the way it wants you to navigate and kind of the mission structures. There's something that I don't remember it working the way it did with the older games. This is still a Rocksteady game, so I wouldn't have thought they'd change much about it. But I'm finding myself kind of confused on what the game exactly wants me to be doing. I mean, it looks great. Although, even, you know what's funny is I've sort of gotten burned out on the gritty DC thing too. So now those Batman games feel a little bit kind of like, oh boy, we're back to the grimdark stuff, because, and that's what those games were. So it's not really fair to judge it by that, but it is one of those things where I'm just like, oh yeah, this definitely feels like a modern getting the first person mod for Spider-Man. Probably not. I already finished it. I don't think I'm going to replay it again. So probably not. And honestly, I don't want to make myself sick, but I think that game is perfectly suited for third person. I really don't think I need a first person mod for that. So probably not. I'd be interested to watch some videos of it, but I have a feeling, again, that it is going to be a very kind of sickening. I've read that it is a sickening experience, and I'd imagine it would be, because web swinging with that has got to be, even for somebody like me who isn't particularly motion sensitive. I'd be like, oh boy, I don't know about that. I am terrified of heights though, so it might do something with that. So maybe that's not the mod for me no matter what. I'm liking these rings. Digging the rings. Rings are working all right. Oh, let's see. Let's do a time check here. Yeah, this is going to be a really short stream, which I hate to do, but probably got another maybe 5 minutes in me here. I'm just really annoyed that this software is flipped out. But like I said, I'll do a stream tomorrow, I'm pretty sure. So that one should be longer, kind of a more standard stream length. But, ooh, definitely messed that line up. Let's clean that up there. No, probably not. I don't mess with mods all that much anymore. Not for, unless it's stuff like visual tweaks, like, you know, the Deus Ex mods and the Fallout mods that really make the game look, those games look a lot better. Those I mess with. But as far as like first person, that type of stuff, not generally. Not really. Like I said, I just don't know how that would even, I don't know that would make the game better for me. In that case, because I really think that game is well suited for third person. I think it's a good use of third person perspective. I like the idea of, you know, some of the animations and stuff probably wouldn't, like I said, I'll be curious to watch somebody playing with it, because I'm curious how it actually functions. I wonder if it's something that will sound much better in theory than it will actually work in performance. So I'd be curious what it actually operates like, but I can't really see myself doing that. I'm not going to say never. If it is somehow transformative and really does seem to enhance the game, which I'll know from watching the video pretty quickly if that applies to me, then maybe. I'm glad that stuff like that is out there, because I know people wanted it, so that's great. They get to experience that. And I'd be very curious to see like people playing it in VR and seeing how disoriented they get. That would probably be pretty amusing. But yeah, probably not. Probably not myself. And it's, yeah. Like I said, I have a feeling that might be a little bit much for me with the heights. Not so much the motion, but probably the heights would be, ooh, that's a terrible join. Let's do that again. That's my suspicion. But like I said, always nice to see stuff like that coming out. I like to see people kind of messing with things and having those options available for people who do want that stuff. That is always a plus. Options are always good. Always want more options. Okay, let's see. I think I have one more. No, okay. Well, I'm sorry, everybody. I got to jump out early because I wasn't intending to have this stream be this short. I mean, I'm actually kind of happy I made it to 30 minutes. But the CPSVR... Yeah, I did. You know what? I'm not surprised by that, honestly. I think it's disappointing, but I'm not really shocked by that. I'll be curious. I don't know. Did they say why? I don't know if there was a technical barrier or if there's something they couldn't overcome. I'd be curious. But at the same time, I'm not overly shocked by that. You know, first run hardware. This is always a risk, even when it is a major console. You know, you never know. So, and well, I was going to say it points to the fact. I haven't actually read everything on it, but I haven't seen anything that indicates that Sony is saying that it could come later, kind of what they did with 1440 and some other things. If they're saying it won't, that does point to some kind of hardware barrier. Whether it was a supply chain problem where they couldn't get the components they needed in the first gen, or if it's something with the VR itself, I don't know. But you would certainly have to think that if they're not even going to try, then there had to be some insurmountable barrier, because that's going to be a decision that's met with a lot of disappointment from people, especially people who wanted to. I mean, you're always disappointed when you don't get the option to play with something. So I don't know though. I did see it. It doesn't really impact me because I don't play a lot of VR, but I think it is obviously going to be disappointing for people who wanted to. Whether that gets fixed later or not, I don't know. So it's a bummer, for sure. But again, I'm just not entirely surprised by that. I think there's just a lot of turbulence inside of any type of hardware manufacturing, and particularly anywhere where high-tech components are involved. So I think there's going to be a lot of this kind of thing where people might have expected something and then suddenly it can't be done. I just have a hunch there's a lot of that's going to be happening in the next few years. I just think it's a result of all the ripple effects of what's gone on before. So not shocking, disappointing, sure. Disappointing for others, not so much for me. But can't say I'm really surprised by that. And on that note, I got to run. So sorry the stream was a little bit shorter tonight, but I will plan to stream tomorrow. Probably more like the normal time, so maybe in about 10 minutes from now tomorrow. So, 24 hours or so from now, and that will be, unless something breaks or Twitch updates something else, that will be a longer stream. So thanks for stopping by though, even for a short one. Again, sorry I didn't plan it to be this short. And if you are an adult or have permission from your parents, head over to the show's YouTube channel and you can watch me playing Scorn, because it is a beautiful game for the right audiences. And having said that, whether it is morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are, whenever you are, have a great rest of whatever it is. Take care.